Hello, welcome to Duncan Egg Bricks and to another MOC video. Now today we're not going to be taking a look at a Harry Potter MOC, but we are going to be taking a look at something from another staple of British pop culture, and that is of course Doctor Who, and in particular, the TARDIS. Now, I was inspired to create this MOC after making a recent Bricklink order, and as I was going through the Bricklink store that I happened to be on, I found that they had some pieces which were quite interesting, and those pieces came from set 21304, Doctor Who, which is a little bit of a strangely named set. It should really be called Doctor Who the TARDIS or something like that, but anyway, that was a LEGO Ideas set from 2015 originally, so it's, getting on for 10 years old now, and the pieces in question that I found were these ones here, which if you know anything about the TARDIS, you will recognise that sign immediately, and they had 4 of each of these 1x3 tiles, so that's enough to actually complete all the signs. They also had this window pane here, just ignore the window for the moment, so that's the sign on the telephone part of the TARDIS, and they also had this St John's ambulance print here, and I thought, seeing as they were there, I thought I would go ahead and get them, and that led me to go ahead and create my own version of the TARDIS. Now, in the 21304 set, there is a version of the TARDIS, and it can open up on the back, and you can connect an interior, because of course the interior is bigger than the exterior, but I wasn't too fussed about that functionality, and decided I would actually modify the version found in that set into something that was a little bit smaller and a little bit more in scale with figures. And so to that end, I went ahead and ordered a whole load more parts. It meant finding a good number of these printed pieces, which are the windows, and an awful lot of these 1x2x2 blue windows, because that makes up the general structure, both for the windows, the phone, the St John's ambulance, and then just standard ones with a blue, dark blue I should say, window piece in there, or window glass piece, to make the wooden panels. So I managed to get all those pieces together, and I decided to put it together into my brand new version of the TARDIS. So I thought I would take you through the build of that. I have built this already, so I know it goes together, but I thought I would take you through the design process in case you wanted to follow along and create your own version. So, since we are using these 1x2x2 window pieces, that means that we end up with a kind of outline, which is going to be a 6x6 size, because that needs 4 on each side for the 2 sets of windows, and then a stud in each corner, just so that they are actually separated. But it's not just going to be 6x6, because the TARDIS actually has bits that stick out, including the base and bits at the roof as well, so we're actually going to need to start with a 7x7. As you may know, LEGO doesn't make an awful lot of odd-numbered pieces. They recently introduced a 1x5 plate, which has proved very useful for a number of different applications, but they don't make any 1x7 plates. So what we're going to need to do is get a 6x6 plate in dark blue, and then 2 1x6 plates, and a 1x1 plate, and this will basically add up to the 7x7 that we want. Now obviously we can't just leave them like that, so we're going to need some pieces to secure them together. In this case I'm actually going to be using these corner tiles, 2x2 corner tile things, and those are just going to help secure everything in place. There's a couple of different ways you can actually attach these to make the 7x7, and this was the version that I decided to go for. So there we go, that is all connected up. There is a little bit of flex in there, but it'll have some stuff on top which should keep it from flexing too much. We need to finish that off with a part that I have just dropped on the floor, which is the 4th one of these tiles, and then to fill in the gaps there, we've just got some 1x3 tiles in dark blue. I should say that a lot of this design is lifted directly from that set. I went through the instructions and actually built the version that is in the set. I built it in Bricklink Studio, and then went through and modified things. So there is our base 7x7. And then we're going to need to transfer from 7x7 to 6x6 on top of that, which is going to leave a half stud gap all the way around. And in order to do that, I'm going to use some normal 2x2 plates. Now these are in the old grey, the kind of more brown version. And the reason I'm using them here is that I have quite a lot of them in my collection, and I don't tend to use the older versions of the dark and light grey or the older version of brown. And, you know, they make a lot of sense here, keeps things nice and consistent. And using the tubes on the bottom of this other 6x6 plate, we can then position this directly above there, leaving that nice half stud gap all the way around. Now you do still get a little bit of a flex in the corner there, but it's not the end of the world, and it makes things a lot stronger. So onto that, we need a whole bunch of stacks of these. So these are just 3 window frames tall, with the bottom 2 with those plain dark blue pieces of glass, and the top one with that printed version. So they are going to go on 3 out of the 4 sides. Now, the original set did have a functionality where you could open up the back of the set. I have removed that functionality from my version because I didn't really need it. So I have changed a few things, but I've kept a lot of stuff the same. So there we go. And then the other side is where the doors would open to let you into the TARDIS. So that's where we're going to put that fantastic printed piece with really, really good small detail. Looks really nice there. And then the St. John's ambulance tile up there, and then a couple more windows above it. And you can see it's already really starting to take shape. Looks a little weird without the corners completed and without the roof, but we can soon solve that. Now, I'm making use of a piece which didn't exist at the time the original set came out, although they managed to get around it and it seemed to be strong enough, but I thought I might as well use it, and that is these modified bricks with a stud on 2 sides. They don't come in dark blue, so they are in black here, and you can just see I've used a bunch of 1x1 plates and a 1x1 brick in dark blue just to get everything at the right height. So that is going to go on the corner there, and then I'm going to add 2 1x8 tiles. You can tell this is quite a fragile build at this point. There might be a couple of things I have to do off camera. 2 1x8 tiles in dark blue, and that's going to complete the corner there. Now, to save my blushes, I'm going to do the other 3 off camera, but you can see it's exactly the same setup. I've just got the tiles on them already. I'll put them around there, and then we'll carry on with the next bit. Right, bricks and tiles are in place there all the way around, and I think that's really starting to shape up with the exact right shape. Again, this is taken from that original set, but I've just amended things ever so slightly. I've also gone one step further and added another 6x6 plate in dark blue on top. This just holds everything together, makes everything a lot stronger, but it is a bit fiddly to put on. You have to line up all of these different things which are only connected at the bottom. You could potentially put a stack of bricks or something inside just to give it a bit more support, but I found that you don't really need it. That's nice and strong as it is. The next thing we're going to need to do is find a way to attach the signs around the top. So we're going to need some more pieces that allow us to use some snot techniques. And in this case, I am using these modified plates with the 2 studs on the side. Now, there is actually another new piece that has come out recently, which would make me able to do a slightly different design here, but I did decide to go with these pieces because they're a lot more common. That new piece is the 1x1 brick, which is 2 plates high, has a rounded back and a hollow stud on the front. It's quite difficult to describe, but it's come up in a lot of the new Speed Champion sets, and it's a very useful piece, but these will do the job for me. So I've got 8 of these. There are going to be 2 to a side, and the way we're just going to do it, we're going to have them there, and then we're going to put this one at 90 degrees and continue the pattern all the way around. Now, this will mean that, yes, it isn't connected all the way across, but it means that each side has 4 studs to connect the top part to, and that will make things nice and strong. So in order to connect the sign, I'm going to have a 1x6 in dark blue, and then those 2 printed tiles that I showed you earlier. Now, the reason that these are 2 1x3s rather than a 1x6 is, as I said, the back opened up. They're actually hinges, and the ones on the side, or possibly the back, I can't quite remember, could rotate out the way. They'd hinge out the way, so then the back could fold out, and it was obviously just easier to do that for all 4 sides rather than making these 2 tiles plus a 1x6. And I think it looks absolutely fine, even though that is ever so slightly misaligned, and it's exactly the same on all of the 4 versions I have. So we'll go around, add that assembly onto all 4 sides. There we go. And that is really, really starting to take shape. That looks really, really good. Played around with lots of different versions, trying to get these at the right height, so that this is exactly the same height as 8 studs wide. So yeah, a bit of playing around got me there in the end. I'm going to add a couple more 6x6 dark blue plates. Keep nearly saying dark bluish grey. And I'm just going to put these straight on top. You could add plates in here to fill the gap. I found you don't really need to. So that goes on there, and that forms the first part of the roof. And then we'll add a couple of plates in dark blue, 2x4. Don't need to keep saying dark blue, do I? And then we'll actually add a 2x2 jumper plate. And around that, more of these corner 2x2 tiles. And then for a final touch, a lantern. And there we go. There is my version of the TARDIS. A completely random side project that I decided to do just for the hell of it, but I'm very happy with how it's turned out. It's ever so slightly smaller than the original version is. I pick a random minifig off my shelf just there. You'll see it is probably still oversized, although Lego minifigs have very weird proportions anyway, but I think this is a better sizing compared to how it was in the original set, and I look forward to just positioning it in random places in my Lego displays as if the Doctor and companion or companions have come to visit. So there we go, there is my TARDIS. I'm very happy with how that's turned out, and I am really looking forward to the new Doctor Who that is going to be featured later this year. It's the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, which is crazy because it feels like the 50th was only about 5 minutes ago, and I'm really looking forward to the return of David Tennant and Russell T Davies. So let me know if you are looking forward to that as well, and let me know what your favourite Doctor Who episode is, or your favourite Doctor. Keep it nice and simple. I'm going to have to go be boring and go for David Tennant here, but I feel like that's a pretty popular answer. So there we go. If you've enjoyed, then please leave a like down below, leave a comment, tell me what you think about this MOC, subscribe to the channel for future videos, and I will see you again very soon.